Hi, good afternoon. My name is Daniel Aguiniga. I'm one of the treating physicians here, and I'm going to be the one doing this webinar. I am very excited about the subject that I'm going to speak about, and the way we decided this is that we had some subjects to talk about, and I chose healthy aging because it's a subject that interests me a lot. I often hear people talking about anti-aging, and so I always think people are doing things to anti-age, but what about if we talked about, not anti-aging, because aging is a normal process, but we talk about healthy aging. So I'm particularly excited about this subject. I want people to get excited about aging because it's, as I mentioned, it's a normal process. So as I mentioned before, aging is a normal process of all living beings. We start aging the moment we are born, even the moment we're conceived. So the aging process is a normal process, as I said, to all human beings. So the question is, how do you want to age? Do you remember when people used to ask you, what do you want to be when you grow old? So when you're a child, we are excited about growing old. We are excited about being grown-ups. And, we think when you're a child, I want to be this, I want to be that. And you're thinking about what you want to be. You're thinking about your 20s and your 30s. But what do you want to be when you're 50? What do you want to be when you're 70? What do you want to be when you're 90? Is anybody asking at your age, what do you want to be when you are older? So very important, very, very important part of the process is that we have goals. As I mentioned, as a child, you think, I want to be as the picture showed, a professor, doctor, many things. But now that you might have achieved that, what do you want to be when you're 70? What do you want to be when you're 90? Where do you want to be when you're that age? Are you planning a birthday party? How do you plan your birthday parties? So it is very important for you to be thinking about how you want your aging process. So I'm using this analogy here because on one side we have the picture of a beautiful glass of wine, and in the other picture we have a bunch of grapes that have perished, let's say, are no longer useful. So my question to you is that both of these have the same source. They both came from a grape. So what do you want to be? What made one different from the other was the aging process. And I want you to think always, as you have a birthday, as you make decisions, do you want your process to be a very selected, careful, studied process like wine would be? Something that everybody's making sure it happens beautifully? Or do you want this to be a process that you just let nature take its course? So this is what's making one thing different from the other, and this is what I want you to pay attention to, and this is what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on becoming the beautiful wine, taking action into what is going to help you age better and beautifully. So the question here is, do you want to live more or do you want to last longer? And there's a huge difference between these two, okay? And I usually think that as humans, we want to live more. We want to have more exciting stories. We want to be able to do more, not just live and exist. We need to have fun. We need to do things that help us live healthier. And to live more, we need to be healthier. So of course, when should we start thinking about healthy aging? Is it this young girl? Is it the adult, the mother, the grandmother? When should we start working? So I'm gonna leave you with this question, and we'll continue talking throughout the lecture, and you guys can help me decide when would be the best time to start working on healthy aging. So many of the points that I made out here are things that you have heard your mom said many times, and it didn't require for her to go to a big school. On the contrary, for example, when I was preparing this lecture, I went through a lot of articles, I went through a lot of research to come up with hints or helpful information to make it easier for you to follow. Research shows a bunch of examples of things that healthy people do, about statistics. You know, I invested a lot of money in coming up with this information, which when I put it into what are the key things, you know, they all may sound very familiar, and they may sound like, okay, you've heard of this before. But the question is, are you doing this regularly? Also, when I was preparing this presentation, I met with a team that we work here, and as you know, Sanofi is a facility that it is part of the environment or the assessment that patients go through to meet with a psychologist, to meet with a nutritionist, to meet with a chiropractor, to meet with a dentist, and of course a medical doctor. So I ask everybody to give me one recommendation they would give patients, and a lot of these are part of what I put here, because I also you know, heard the recommendation and did research of statistic and information that it's out there. So this is something that I try to keep very simple, very simple in the way that it's things that anybody can follow, that you can remember to do on daily basis, and that it's something that you can put yourself to do. So the first tip that I would give you, the first recommendation that I would give you is stand up straight. And again, this is something that most of our moms do, and I'm pretty sure that when I say this, a lot of you that are hearing this probably sit up straight, because it is something that we often neglect to do. Just from the visual point of view, a person ages just because when they don't sit up straight, they look older. Just standing up straight or sitting up straight makes a person feel more confident, makes a patient feel more comfortable, and makes you look younger. Of course, having the wrong posture has an impact on your whole structure, because remember, what you are doing when you are not standing up straight is causing an abnormal alignment of your spine. And your spine is the core of everything. So if you are not standing up straight or sitting up straight, then your spine is not properly aligned, and the information that is coming from the nerves is not the best information because it's misaligned. So the first tip, it would be stand up straight. And so again, you start telling your children, you know, even when they're very young, to stand up straight, and the importance of standing up straight. If you're not a child, still it is very important to work on your posture. The other information that that I got from the team, hydration, and we're talking about drinking water, plain normal water. We're not talking about drinking alkaline water or water with vitamins, or, you know, we're talking about plain water. One of the purposes of drinking plenty of water is that, of course, it will hydrate our structures like our spine and muscles and everything. It will also help the lymphatic system. Remember, the lymphatic system is the organ that helps us remove toxins from our body. Therefore, the more water we drink, the more we're going to be moving our fluids and the better chances of improving detoxification. Okay, we're talking about plain water. So if you're drinking soda, if you're drinking tea, if you're drinking soda pop, other beverages, alcohol, of course, they don't necessarily help you hydrate. We're talking about plain water. Another important recommendation would be to eat less sugar. Of course, our nutritionists here are very strict about sugar content because we know that sugar has a lot of unwanted consequences. Metabolic syndrome, we're talking about diabetes, and I just want to keep it simple. If you're a person that has a sweet tooth, you need to decrease your amount of sugar. And of course, since this is not a formal consultation, I cannot say how much sugar can a person eat or not. But we know that we need to recommend that you have less sugar. So if you're used to having, your scoop of ice cream every day, you need to decrease your amount of ice cream, for example. Start by instead of having a full scoop or a cup, start by having half. And again, if you're not eating ice cream, I'm not saying that you should eat ice cream, but it's just an example of things that you need to start doing that can, gradually take you into a better health process. If you drink your tea with sugar, look for other options of sugar. Stevia would be a good option. Of course, we're not going to recommend that you use artificial sweeteners like, the other stuff that it's out there, the blue packs or the pink packs or the yellow packs. We're talking about natural ways of sweetening, but not, but again, decrease as much as you can. Often people ask about honey. Honey is a form of sugar. So if you tend to have your tea with honey, then if you put a teaspoon, then I would recommend that you go to a half a teaspoon. Little things. Also, your palate is going to appreciate it because the more sugar we eat, the more, let's say, your body needs it in that sense, in the sense of your taste buds. So if you start getting used to putting less sugar onto your stuff, then the body will get used to that. And of course, a lot of benefits from decreasing your intake of sugar. And I'm just talking about sugar as a sweetener. Of course, here the purpose of decreasing the amount of sugar is to decrease the amount of carbohydrates. And when we talk about carbohydrates, ideal would be that, the amount of carbohydrates, it's also observed or it's given by a recommendation by a nutritionist. Another easy recommendation is to make sure you choose wisely. The more you eat whole foods, the better chances of eating healthier food, of course. Avoid processed foods because, as you can see, any of these, processed foods that you will see here in the picture has like 10, 20 ingredients in them. And out of those ingredients, I would say that very few of them are really nourishing ingredients. Versus having a whole food that we know that has the content of water, that it has fiber, and that what makes them have different colors, one from the other, is the amount of antioxidants that they have. So have in mind that when you are choosing your food, you're choosing what is going to be healthy for you, not something that is just going to feed you, but it's something that is going to nourish your body. So it is very, very important that to think about, one thing versus the other. How much is this going to satisfy me, and how much benefit is this going to do to me? Have in mind that we all have our cells, new cells forming on daily basis, right? And these cells require materials to produce new cells, right? So imagine if the materials that the cells are getting to make new cells, if it comes from healthy stuff, the type of cells, new cells that you're going to get versus the type of cells that you are going to get if your cells is being produced from a bunch of chemicals that are in processed foods. So it's something to think about. This is an analogy that I've used on, not an analogy, it's an example that I've told, children when they ask why should they eat, healthy food, and I tell them, so imagine the new cells that you're going to produce if you eat junk food. So of course, if you eat junk food, you might be getting junk cells, right? The body has great abilities to adapt, but the ideal scenario is that we give them beautiful food so we form beautiful cells. And how is your smile? Unhealthy teeth can age your look, and this is very, very known to us. Nowadays there's this TV shows on Discovery and TLC about making people look younger and stuff like that. And if you ever follow any of these shows, they do facelift and hair makeovers and stuff like that, but they always work on the teeth. So it is very, very important to have your teeth healthy, and having healthy teeth require a process. One of the things that I found is that people who don't have healthy teeth, if they have stains or if they have the teeth that are not taken care of, they tend to smile less because they feel embarrassed about smiling. So that's a big thing that I think is very, very important. So you need to take care of your teeth so you're more comfortable smiling. So here are some facts about smiling. Smiling boosts your immune system, of course. Smiles relieve stress by releasing endorphins, and endorphins are substances that we produce when we are happy. Endorphins are substances that we produce that make us feel happy, I would say. And so most of us, and I would say all of us, enjoy feeling good, feeling happy. Endorphins also help us with pain management, for example. It is easier to smile than frown. It takes 5 to 53 muscles to smile. So there goes some of your exercise. Babies are born with the ability to smile, and there are 19 different types of smiles. So encouragement to smile. And here is where we talk about the importance of good oral hygiene and flossing. So when we're talking about smiling, as I mentioned before, a lot of people are very self-aware of the teeth condition. So if you know that you need to take care of your teeth, of course, because you can get the benefit of smiling, right? But also, the oral condition has a huge impact on a human's health in general. It is very important that you make sure you brush your teeth, of course, daily, 3 times a day at least. But it's very, very important also to floss, because we often think about, I'm going to do things to take care of my heart. I'm going to do things to take care of my bowels, for example, my brain. We do a bunch of things to take care of them because it is harder to replace them. But we often think that, okay, I'll pull a teeth or stuff like that, thinking that it's something replaceable. And again, the original plan, let's say, of the teeth was to stay in your mouth, for as long as you live. And it is healthier to have your own teeth, I would say. Of course, when we talk about good health, we're talking about the importance of gums. Nowadays, and probably we known for many years, the importance of gum health. We know that the gums, if the gums are not in good shape, this could be a source of inflammation. This could be a source of toxicity. This could be a source of infections. So imagine having gums that are full of bacteria, and we eat and we talk, and this gum has all the saliva that is mixing every day with our gums, and then we swallow this. So in a way, we're swallowing all these waste materials from bacteria. If we have inflammation in our gums, it is something that is triggering our immune system also, that there is inflammation in our body. So this inflammation can have an impact in our whole system, as well as an infection in the gums, okay? And of course, this is a source of toxicity because we're producing waste materials there. Amalgams, for us, as you know, we believe in biological dentistry, and amalgams which contain mercury, it's one of the things that we are very passionate about, because there's a lot of research on the impact of heavy metals in our health, especially our brain health. Mercury is a metal that is not meant to be part of our normal biology. So there's research on amalgams and Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. So, if you keep yourself with good oral health, in theory, there's no need for you to be having amalgams, right? Here at Sanofi, when a patient goes through an assessment, it is something that is very important for us to assess. As I mentioned to you, infections, for example, in the gums, but also there could be infection as a result of a failed root canal or infections in the bone. Again, this is a focus that or a place or a site that is going to be triggering other responses in the body. The body or the mouth, I would say, it's part of the whole body. So we cannot say, oh, this is a tooth infection and it doesn't have an impact on our whole health. It does. It does. It's a part of being a whole human being. And of course, cavities are the result of bad hygiene. Of course, having cavities will end up having, other impacts in our health as a sign of it is also an infection. Another important recommendation is to keep your body active. And I'm not saying, you need to go on a hike, or you need to do marathons, or you need to do very, very extreme exercise. You need to keep yourself active. Even within your house, even, do gardening, but find something that you're excited about, whether if it's bicycle riding, going to water, exercise, it can vary what you're excited about doing for exercise, but it is very important to keep yourself active. Remember, this is also a way to keep your lymphatic system moving, to keep your heart also doing well. Also, for patients with diabetes, it also helps you relax, okay? It helps with the production of endorphins that I spoke about earlier, that help make you feel better, that also help you with pain management. An easy thing to do, if you say, oh, I cannot go to the gym, I cannot go to the, place where they teach classes, this is a very, very simple example of exercising, and as I spoke with a physical trainer here, or fitness person, she said, 30 minutes 3 times a week. That's a good start. That's a good thing to do. And of course, we're talking about conscious walking, and the recommendation here is a military pace. So just think about when you see, on TV or somewhere when somebody is walking at a military pace. So try to keep that pace. And I put here not shopping pace, when you're just walking around and looking, what's here, what's there. A lot of people say, yeah, I walk my dog. But yes, of course, they're just, looking at the dog and seeing what the dog is doing. No, we're not talking about that type of walking. We're talking about really conscious walking, military pace, and things to think about when you are exercising. So this exercise is effective, and it is very, very simple things to follow. So one thing is to, when you're walking, hold your head high. Again, going back to this first recommendation that I made you on standing up straight. You hold your head high. You need to look forward, and you need to keep your chin parallel to the ground. Okay, this is very, very important. The second part would be that you move your shoulders naturally, and you keep you're going to be having your arms swing, but feeling that they're kind of slightly bended when you're walking. Okay, keep your back straight, also not arched forward or backward. A straight position. Another thing is to gently tighten your stomach muscles. Okay, this is going to be very important also for digestion as well, and of course toning your abdomen muscles. And when you walk smoothly, rolling your foot from heel to toe. Have in mind and just visualize that as you think of your foot or your feet, the heel part is where we have the most cushion compared to the area of the toes. So the heel of the foot is where it's meant to, is where we meant to put our foot on the floor first, so it will take the impact of the ground. Okay, so this is why it's a little more cushion, and so just have that in mind. The heel goes first to take the impact, and then we roll the rest of the foot as we walk. So I think these are very easy tips to follow when you're walking. If 30 minutes is not an option, start by doing 10 minutes, and as you see yourself doing this more, go to 12 minutes and then go to 15 till you get to the 30 minutes. Another important tip is to keep your mind active. Very, very important. Learn a new activity, and I don't know what you might be excited about, but people that go into classes, learn new skills, keep their mind more active. Therefore, the aging process is healthier. Have fun, find your passion. So going back to the previous image is, learn something new. It could be singing, and you might not be a great singer, but you're learning on how to sing. That gives you tools, and you can have fun doing it. Dancing, it depends on what you are excited about. Get your sleep. Very, very, very important. It is advisable to get 6 hours of sleep. Some people require more time, and that's fine. Some people require 8 hours of sleep. Some people require 9 hours of sleep. But it's very, very important that you think about your sleep, that it has to be during the night, because the sleep that we have during the day versus the sleep that we have during the night is different. For one thing, everything at night is more quiet. There's not the sun exposure or the light exposure, let's say, because our skin has receptors to light, that it's, that these receptors are supposed to be sleeping, let's say, during the night when we don't have any light. And so this is so the body can do the processes that it's meant to do to repair and regenerate tissue as we sleep. So very, very important that you try to get your 6 hours of sleep at night. Some people say, I don't sleep very well, I take naps. Yeah, that would be fine. But if you can get yourself to sleep your 6 hours at night, that's the ideal scenario. Get a good habit going. Benefits of having habits. It is important, or it is very beneficial for healthy aging to have habits. You know, that you get your habits, for example, at what time you go to bed and at what time you go to and you wake up. Having a habits, you know, at the hours that you eat, you know, and the days that you do your activities. That is something that, of course, it helps your brain function because it makes you feel more organized, but it also helps the rhythms in your body when you have habits. And that also makes you helps you with a lot of the normal biological processes in your body. So, of course, we're talking about good habits, not bad habits of, you know, drinking or smoking or stuff like that. We're talking about, for example, exercising as much as you can at the same times of the day, or, you know, doing your classes on, you know, certain days of the week at the same time. Something that I found also very, very important, and that this is one of the things that help people age healthier, is to stay in touch with friends, family, people that are more social, tend to live healthier lives. So, you know, I put here a picture of a gathering, and it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody there is our family members, but, you know, staying in touch with friends, it is something that is very, very important to help maintain healthy aging. Found some also research on sex and aging, and I found this study on men. I wanted to find something on women, but I didn't. It seems there's not a lot of information on women. But this study found that 1,000 males, that those with high frequency of orgasms lived twice as long as those that did not experience pleasure. So I'm pretty sure that it's something very similar to this happens with women. When we talk about sex, it doesn't necessarily mean to have intercourse, because we know as we age, sexual function might be harder. But we're talking about pleasure, you know, getting intimate with your partner, you know, experiencing that sexual interest, let's say, to keep healthy. Benefits of maintaining sexual activity. Well, for one thing, is that it helps you burn fat. It helps release endorphins. It boosts immune system. We all want to have a good immune system. Having sex 3 times a week can prevent wrinkles around the eyes. That was something that I found very interesting. And it also helps with the production of hormones. You know, for example, both men and women, we produce testosterone, and testosterone is one of those hormones that help us have, of course, the sex drive in one place, but it also helps us have a little more energy, and also helps us maintain, you know, physical activity, you know, easier to maintain physical activity. So another important tip is to not dread getting older. So going back to that first example that I gave you on becoming a beautiful bottle of wine, you know, have in mind every decision that you make about being happy, about drinking water, about exercising, it's something that is having an impact on your health. Okay, even how you think about yourself as you age. You know, don't dread getting older. You know, a lot of people complain that they're getting gray hair, the wrinkles in the face, they're not as active as they used to be. You're not. You're not. You're becoming a better person as you age. And I want you to think of that. You know, and this is why I use this example of this beautiful, expensive wine. You know, think about yourself as you're becoming this beautiful wine, this beautiful, expensive wine that people want to open on New Year's to have a toast, you know, for a special occasion. So you are very special. So now take the time to invest to go through this process in a beautiful way, in a way that you invested by making beautiful, healthy choices for you and not just letting nature take its course. Um, Beautiful people, and I like this quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. It says, "Beautiful young people are accidents of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art." So have this in mind. You are a work of art. You are a beautiful wine. All right, so those would be all the slides that I have for you on this presentation. I really enjoy talking about this. I really hope that you take this advice and put it in practice on your daily activities, and that you enjoy how you perceive now your aging process. Going back to the question, when should we start worrying about aging? I would think that even as we're children, making choices on healthy food, keeping children active, making sure they drink plenty of water, asking them to stand up straight, doing physical activity. Of course, we're not going to tell them to have the sexual part. That's commonly part of as we become adults. But even as a child, sexuality, to keep it healthy, it's important. So I thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed talking about this subject. And have a nice evening. Thank you.